TGC Requiem back with Modern Elves League here. So we're 2-2, 6-5 in games. We are going to be on the play. This is a very good hand. Huh. Gemstone Cavern. So he is going to exile a card. Let's see what he exiles. My assumption here, without seeing the card, would be probably that it is Red-White Prison. But he exiled a Platinum Angel. So the only deck that I know that typically runs Platinum Angel. So maybe that's not true. So I was gonna say the only deck that typically runs Platinum Angel is Mono Blue Tron, but I could see Red White Prison running like a what do you call it? Madcap Experiment package with Platinum Angel possibly as a way to close out and finish the game. So anyway, let's see what happens here. We're gonna probably lead on Mystic or Llanowar Elves. Llanowar Elves it is. Power plant. So yeah, so we're definitely playing Mono Blue Tron then. So now we can actually... We could run out Mystic Heritage Druid. Although we have to keep in mind, so normally we don't have to worry too much because our opponent has... what am I trying to say here? The blue mana. If our opponent has blue mana, we typically have to be a little nervous of a, I think it's Condescend, where they could just tap it for X equals 1 here. So definitely looks like we're going to do a 1-drop to leave that open. My assumption is I'm looking to go Llanowar Elves. Probably into Mystic or Heritage Druid. Once the first one resolves, we're going to play a second land and then cast the other one, at which point actually we may just go for Dwynen's Elite there. Let's see what happens. Yeah, so we're just going for Mystic. We just wanted to make sure all of our spells resolved here, and so by playing around the Condescend, we're going to be able to get a point of damage in. Plus, we've developed our board pretty well for a pretty strong turn 3. Oh, no, that's... okay, so I failed to think about the fact that once I resolve all those, I can actually cast Dwynen's Elite through a Condescend as well. I didn't miss it during the game, but I missed it right now as I was explaining it. So that puts us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 power on board going into turn 3, and the ability to cast Azuri next turn. Oh, so that's even better. So we're going to go Archdruid for sure. Even if he condescends 2 here, we can easily pay for it and still get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 damage in. And then we just have an overrun kill with Azuri next turn. He let it resolve, so we're just going to pound away for everything. Sorry about that. 11 damage, and if our opponent doesn't draw something really good right here, that's probably game. Thirst for Knowledge. That is a great sign. So I would have thought maybe he tries to repeal our Elvish Archdruid and then counter it the next turn, but granted, if he had had a repeal, he would have done that already. So really what he's looking at right now, which I'm pretty sure he doesn't main deck, there's the yeah, and so he just concedes. So can't remember what the name of the card is now. The Mono Blue Tron runs like a 4-drop instant eighth or something that basically it's like it bounces all the creatures that attacked this turn. So, but I don't think they run it in the main, so it's not really something we would have been playing around game 1. But again, we got a quick win there. Let's go to game 2. I also figured out a way that if I just maximize the screen and then turn on the chat log, the size of the screen is the appropriate size again. So let's look at the sideboard. Big thing here, Lost Legacy is a really good card against combo decks, and this is a combo control deck. Lost Legacy's issue, however, is its name a non-artifact, obviously a non-land card. And the problem with that is the combo piece of this deck is artifacts, and the best cards in the deck are artifacts, save for maybe like 1 or 2 Ugins. So Lost Legacy is unfortunately useless in this matchup. So that said, we brought in a Maelstrom Pulse. If we're looking at the sideboard here, probably a Reclamation Sage, Chord of Calling, and we didn't even bring in Fracturing Gust because they don't get that many artifacts. So we brought in the 3 cards, just the Maelstrom Pulse, the Reclamation Sage, and the Chord of Calling, as ways to handle their troublesome permanents. And so we pulled out a Visionary, an Azuri, and a Bestiary. If the game gets grindy, granted these games could, if this game gets grindy, it's just going to grind into a situation where we lose to a Mindslaver, so it's not really a matchup where we care to be grinding the matchup. So that's the sideboard plan. This is a good hand. Turn 3 Reclamation Sage, and we get the early beater down, potentially too with the Dwynens. We have a Chord to go get like an Archdruid or Shaman of the Pack. Not necessarily explosive, but solid. Alright, Expedition Map. I really would have preferred to not see the 4th land there, but at least not this early. Alright, so our opponent is going to be on Tron ASAP. So we're just going to go in, jam in with the Nettle Sentinel. We do know he's not going to be able to counter anything. So not really concerned about the Expedition Map here, or him getting Tron, or not concerned about any counter magic either. So we actually play the Blooming Marsh over the Gilt Leaf Palace because we want to make sure, it doesn't really matter I guess, but we want to make sure we get the Blooming Marsh down within the first 3 turns. Gilt Leaf, we should pretty much, based on how the game's going, have an elf in hand to play when we're ready to play that land. So I'll just run out of Dwynen's Elite. This gives us 5 power on board. So that's surprising. Would have expected our opponent to go Expedition Map. So he's actually playing Spatial Contortion, which is a pretty good removal spell here. By him killing the Nettle Sentinel, he's actually going to cost us the token from Dwynen's Elite, which is pretty excellent. Still think, I don't know, I guess we don't know his hand. Tron's not as important. Maybe he doesn't have anything to make use of Tron at this point anyway. So he actually runs out of Treasure Mage. And he's probably going to reveal a Wormcoil Engine. Platinum Angel, actually. Okay. So we actually have a Reclamation Sage in hand, so we are okay with that. Wormcoil would have been a bit tougher to deal with. I mean, we still would have been able to blow it up, but with where we are in a much stronger position to do lethal damage, and after we've done lethal damage, drop the Reclamation Sage, possibly. We'll see how it works out. Draw yet another land. So I'm assuming we're just going to reveal another Dwynen's Elite. And yeah, we're not going to attack. We don't want to be trading at this point. Goes and gets his Expedition Map, and we're assuming we're going to see a Platinum Angel here now. Elvish Archdruid's good. Unfortunately, he does have the ability to condescend for 4, but I don't think we're in a position to really fight that. Okay, so we do actually pass the turn. I think we're... Well, I guess, yeah. So there's no point... Sorry, it's not that there's no point. There's no need to run out Elvish Archdruid because we have Court of Calling. So we can actually chord into an Archdruid at our opponent's end step and then play an Archdruid on our turn, depending on what our opponent does. And we're assuming at some point here he's going to cast this Platinum Angel that he has in hand. So he thirsts here. And while his thirst is on the stack, we are going to go ahead and chord. We know we can resolve it. And my assumption is that we're going to get a... Let me think. Shaman, 1, 2, 3, 4. Puts him down to 14. My assumption is we're just going to get a Elvish Archdruid here. Okay, so we actually get an Azuri. Oh, you know what? That makes total sense. So the thing I didn't think about, I have a 5th forest in hand, or a 5th land in hand. Things I'm paying more attention to when I'm in the middle of the game, I suppose. So we actually have the ability to activate for 2, 4, 6, 7, plus 12, 19 damage next turn. We're dead to an Ugin either way, so why not? So this is a good sign. Our opponent's a little nervous. He thirsts again. Hits another land, and now he has 7 mana. So he's probably going to throw that Platinum Angel down. No, a Wormcoil Engine. Okay, so this match is interesting. I like how he pitched 2 expedition maps to his thirsts. So it looks like I'm assuming we're going Archdruid here. Okay, just want to make sure. Play a land, and now next turn we are in position to do an overrun. We still have a couple mana up here for Azuri to regenerate a couple elves, most namely the Archdruid, and with the other Azuri in hand, the Archdruid is the most important one to protect, though honestly most of the things this deck is doing is not removal based. They're more like bounce effects. So, alright, so we have a core, or Collected Company, Reclamation Sage, and Azuri. We know he has a Platinum Angel in hand. So, we could attack for everything except the Archdruid. If we attack with everything except for the Archdruid, we can do a double overrun. That puts us at 9, 10, 11. Plus 12 is what? 23 plus 12 is 35. The Wormcoil would count for 10, or 12 rather. So that pulls us back to 23. So we actually have lethal with that. The concern is if he has that Aether spell, the one that returns all attacking creatures to your hand. So we definitely have lethal here if we want to push for it. I would think we may only pump once, however. And hold up the Archdruid for a Collected Company in response. So we're okay with attacking with the Azuri because we can just theoretically play another Azuri and kind of go for the same thing the next turn. So we're definitely going to activate for trample once. What is our opponent doing? Epiphany at the Drown Yard. Okay, so reveal the top X+1 cards of your library, put them into 2 piles. An opponent chooses one of those piles and put that pile into your hand, the other pile into your graveyard. So this is interesting. So he puts Dismember, Tower, Treasure Mage. So here's the thing. I don't really care at this point because he doesn't have any blue mana left. So we know he doesn't have the Aetherize, and so now we are clear to do the second pump, which will actually be lethal. So we're probably going to give him this top one because he can't do anything with it this turn, whereas Dismember could essentially affect the combat math enough to where we don't have lethal. So we're going to give him this top pile. And then we're just going to go ahead and activate another round of pumps. And that's going to be lethal. Excellent. So, Mono Blue Tron, 2-0, so that puts us in the league to 3-2 and 8-5. And if you watch the whole thing, I don't want to say so much. I mean, I definitely punted against Burn. They could have still drawn out of it. I don't think I had lethal. I guess it depends on how they decided to block, but if they blocked with everything, I wouldn't have had lethal. So it's very possible that we could have been 4-1. I also feel like in the odds-on matchup in Game 2, there was a moment where I strongly considered double blocking the Grim Flayer to stop him from filtering, and I think if we had done that, he would not have been able to get to his damnation in time, and we probably would have won there. So I mean, I feel like, again, a little rusty with the deck, but I personally think Elves is probably pretty well positioned in the meta right now, and again, I did not play particularly well, so to go 3-2 feel pretty good about that. Feel pretty good about the deck. Definitely, some more that could be done. I don't think the Lifecrafter's Bestiary was worth it. It's possible we want to get another Lord, like Elvish Champion in the sideboard. I don't know. We'd have to see. But yeah, other than that, I'm pretty happy with how the deck went, how it played. Definitely could have been a little bit better, but hopefully you enjoyed it. I haven't played Elves in a while, at least Modern Elves on video, so I hope it was enjoyable.